Are you a heart center female entrepreneur who works really hard, who has read all the books on manifesting, on sales and marketing, and are still not materializing or manifesting the financial abundance or the financial freedom that you want? If you are wondering what's going on, then stay tuned to today's show because today we are going to have a discussion on how to easily uncover the money beliefs that are blocking your abundance. And you may want to think about those type of limiting money beliefs as perhaps money scripts. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I have a very special guest that is joining me today where we're going to be having that conversation one on one. And so you'll get a chance to hear more from her experience in working some of the things that I teach. And I want to share that with you. And I wanted to share a video here in between, but I can't find my video. So what we'll do then is I'll just go ahead and bring my guest over to introduce herself. By the way, if this is your first time watching, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching the live stream, make sure that you connect with me by writing your name. Where are you tuning in from in the world? Where are you? Are you in the United States? Are you somewhere else? And where are you as far as social media? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on YouTube? Let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel here. Let me go ahead and bring my guest today. And hello, Yovanna.
Hi, Evie.
It's so great to have you.
I'm happy
So
to be here.
I am happy to have you here. And let me just go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. So, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Evie Diaz, and I am a financial empowerment speaker, financial trauma healer, and author. And I am an expert in the simplest method of manifesting financial freedom. And today, I want to introduce you to a past client, a brand new client, and an all the time great friend. Yovanna. And Yovanna, please introduce yourself. Tell me how to pronounce your last name correctly. Tell us a little bit about what do you do, who do you serve, and how do you serve?
Thank you, Evie. So I'm Yovanna Madhere. I know it looks a little different, but it's Madhere. And I help high achieving women and mothers go from being strong women to leading a softer life. And how do I do that? I do that by integrating my experience as a wellness expert, as a licensed therapist, and as a coach. And I help women create more health, love, and soul in their lives.
Oh, I love that. I love that. We could all use more health, more loving soul. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's set an intention for today. And notice that I am consciously setting an intention and asking you that when you start your day, you start a live stream, you start a meeting, set an intention. It's kind of like, what is the purpose? So today, the purpose is to introduce you to Yovanna so you can learn a little bit about her. Also, to have you be aware of an upcoming event that we actually started last Wednesday, and then also to uncover and perhaps invite you to go on this journey with us, where this coming Wednesday we'll be sharing something that I think may be different for many. And it doesn't matter if you've heard it before, but you may apply it so that you can begin to rewire your subconscious mind. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. So my intention is also that you can remain open and receptive to listening and integrating this into your body, into your subconscious mind, and also into your business so that you can become more and more prosperous or financially free, so that you can attract the affluent clients that you want to attract, so that you can bring the solutions to their problems that you bring into the world, so you can have greater impact and reach. Because my entire platform, it's all about my mission. And my mission is to really inspire and empower heart center female entrepreneurs over the age of 40 who want to manifest a six-figure income from their business, to manifest that with ease. And so if that is you or someone you know, welcome. Stay open, remain open, and come on this journey with us. And I want to thank you for tuning in, whether you're on the live or the replay. Thank you very much. And so, Giovanna, let's talk to people a little bit about our past experience, Giovanna. You told us a little bit about yourself. And before we get into what you're doing present time, let's talk about our past collaboration because we've had a past. And so, can you share a little bit about our past, how we met a little bit, and perhaps about what we worked on, what I worked on with you, and then what we worked on together?
Yeah. So yeah, we go. It's been a while, Evie. I mean, I met Evie in '07, maybe 08-ish.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Somewhere, it was a while ago. And I met Evie at Unity, which is our spiritual home. And she has this like radiance and this grounded energy and speaks with this authority of spirituality and heart-centeredness and knowingness. And so I have attended workshops that Evie has created and done in different places. And I was her co-host on a radio show that she had on Blog Talk Radio. So, we were podcasting before podcasting was a thing.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. And, Evie was my first life coach. She actually really inspired me into the career of coaching because I know how much it transformed my life. And the trajectory that I've been on since I've met Evie has always been to have a heart-centered space for other women where they can be themselves, where they can release whatever mind things that they have about themselves, and they can get more deeper into their purpose. And if they allow themselves, then everybody else has permission as well. So it has certainly been a journey. And, Evie has always encouraged me that I can do whatever I want to do, whatever I want to achieve, because it's divinely inspired and it comes from the heart.
Absolutely. And I love that you share that. And, it reminds me of that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher does appear.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what happened with us. And just to preface that by saying that I truly believe that we are all teachers and we're all students and we're all on a journey, and our paths met before and are meeting now, not by coincidence. And even
No.
for those of you that are watching, this is not a coincidence. I do not believe in coincidence. I believe in divine instances. And so if you're watching this, stop and realize this is a divine instance and there's something here for you. And I'm going to encourage all of us now that I'm saying that to part of our intention, we could say, is to create those divine appointments. And what I mean by that, yesterday, I had an intention to go to Unity where Yovanna and I met and be available. And so I'm a prayer chaplain there. And we were done and we were almost out of the whole campus. And I was just talking to our senior minister. I was telling him something funny. And he was talking to a young woman who was saying, "Oh, wow, are all the prayer chaplain gone? I really need a prayer." And it so happens that I was actually, she was talking to the Reverend, and I was actually passing by, and as I was walking, telling him something funny because I saw that he was talking to her. So I was just trying to be funny. And she's saying that, and I hear her, so I stop and I say, "I'm a prayer chaplain. I'll be happy to pray with you." And it was such a blessing for her and for me. Because I asked for that intention. One of the things I've been practicing is an old book that I read over 20 years ago, The Prayer of Jabez. "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and increase my territory." And that is about serving in a bigger and better way in this world, in God consciousness, if you want to call it that. And so I felt that that was a divine appointment with me and this young lady for me to pray with her. And I thanked her for it as well as she thanked me. And so similarly for Yovanna and I, we met at that same, conscious community. And she was in a state of really rebirthing herself. She was rebirthing herself. And so we met, we started working together, and I did whatever I knew at that time to help her in her rebirthing and her increased consciousness as she was really blossoming. And she came to one of my retreats. She was one of my clients at one of my retreats. She was an excellent client. She is a very good student. No wonder that since then she has pursued higher education and obtained so many things. And then we had such a great connection that I asked her, would you be my co-host in Blog Talk Radio? And yes, we were like pioneers, sort of, kind of, because there weren't a lot. I just wish we had continued it. And from that, she was became one of my audience member in my video that I created called the Client Manifestation Course, and we developed that podcast, that we had together. And then, she went on to bigger and better and greater things, because what has happened since then? I mean, you married, you had another baby. Tell us a little bit about that. You went to school, you got one degree, then you got one licensing, then you just tell us a little bit about that. How you just have fully blossomed.
Yeah, I mean, you're so spot on. I was rebirthing, um, overcoming some really major life shifts that were happening in my life at the time, and really needing to, you know, become okay with my natural gifts and what God created me to do. And so working with you really helped me develop all of that. But yeah, since then I've gotten married. So we've been married almost 11 years now. Let's see, our youngest son is a Unity baby. He was baptized at Unity. And yes, I have a bachelor's degree in social work. I have a master's degree in social work. I am a licensed therapist in Georgia, Washington, D.C., and Virginia, as well as I am a certified coach. I've been a Zumba instructor and a certified personal trainer, and everything that I have done has really been in the desire to serve others through what my divine assignment is. So just understanding, like, this is the way that I'm wired. And so it's my desire to serve. I'm also a public speaker. So I've done several keynote speeches. I've had a podcast called Funny Thing About Trauma, where we can laugh at our own pain. I'm a mentor. I mean, I'm just the vessel for the work. And it is my intention to, reach women who, want more health, love, and soul in their lives and want to lead softer lives, because we all deserve that. That is the divine assignment of us, right? And so that is just what I'm here to do.
I love that. And I know that you said that you're a vessel. And I love that because I know that when you and I first had a phone call just about a month ago, when we kind of reconnected over the phone, you started saying I had the big impact that I had on your life. And I was trying to explain that to you, that ultimately we may seek out coaches. We may seek out mentors, teachers, whatever we want to call them. And since I truly believe that we're all teachers and we're all students, because a child can teach us a lot of things, a
Yeah.
stranger can teach us a lot of things,
Mhm.
right? And we have to look at life that way. I believe that at that time, as much as you felt that I was teaching you, you were teaching me. And like you're saying right now that you're a vessel, that's exactly what I am. And that's exactly what you are, whoever you are that's watching this. You're a vessel. When we allow ourselves to connect to our higher purpose and we step into that light, which here, it's our higher divine self, we call our fabulously financially free future self now, when we're stepping into that fabulousness that we have, right? We are vessels. And then those that listen to us, our responsibility is to share, like you as a coach, as a therapist, mine as a speaker, as a trainer, as a healer, as a messenger of this message that I feel was gifted to me by the divine, is to share it. What our listeners, our students, our clients, for you, what they do with it is their responsibility. So I say that because I know that when we first spoke to each other, you said all these things, which I love to hear, and I'm grateful that I had an impact in your life. And we must understand, doing the work that we do, that our job is to just relay the message. And it is up to the individual that's listening to do what they may. Do you
Right.
agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So I know that you had said some things, and I wanted people to know that you have been my client, and now again you're my client, and that you join our 3 day Flip Your Limiting Money Scripts. And this
Yeah.
is interesting because right now, I believe that we teach what we're learning, what we've learned, and what we always need to be learning,
For
because we're
sure.
always on a journey. So it's constant, continuous growth. And so right now we're talking about these limiting money scripts. Now, by now, most people probably know that most of the time we're operating, 95% of our time, we are operating under the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is a repetition of daily things. So if Giovanna, I asked you, like, if you could recall this morning, what did you do this morning when you opened up your eyes? Tell me two or three things that you did this morning when you woke up.
Same thing I do every morning. I wake up and I'm very grateful. I say, thank you, Father, Mother God, for this moment. Thank you for what this day has to hold for me. I hope that I am operating at my highest and best. And I just hope to have a great day. And I pray for safety over my family. So that's what I always do. Um, I went for a really long walk. I walked almost 4 miles.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Listening to a book and walked. Um, and spent some time with my husband, just, chit chatting with my husband.
There you go. So for me this morning, similar to you, so I wake up, I go to the bathroom, then I go brush my teeth, then I go to the kitchen, and depending on what I'm feeling like, I'll have my decaf coffee brewing or my tea brewing. Then I sit and I journal with my journal. Well, that's getting done by my kitchen table. And so most of the time we have these automatic behaviors that we do that are all driven by our subconscious mind. Similarly, our thoughts have been ingrained through repetition. And it could be through repetition that goes along with those habitual processes that we have, because it's already become a habit. Wake up, go to the bathroom, do your business there, brush your teeth, then, either start getting ready. If you have little kids, go wake them up, or go to the kitchen, make breakfast. So you drive to work, you go to the same route all the time. You probably don't even realize you left your house and all of a sudden you're in front of the school where you're dropping off your child, or you're in front of the office where you work. Whatever it may be, it's all done automatically. And
Right.
that is because of the subconscious mind. Now, it has taken several years for you to develop many of those habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I say this to say two things. Number one, we want to realize that we have developed these habits that are automatically, and we want to be conscientious. We want to be more aware of what they are. And I'm going now in a little bit beyond just the daily routines, okay? And secondly, we want to know that it has taken us some time to develop these.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I say that is because sometimes we go into a program like, let's say, this program. We're doing a 3 day Flip Your Limiting Money Scripts, which started last Wednesday. It'll continue this Wednesday. It'll end next Wednesday for the general audience. And for the VIPs and elite, they get a bonus on Friday, May 2nd. Same time, 1 o'clock. It's a bonus class that I'm doing for them. So it's only 4 days, 4 hours. So, what I want to say is, I want people to join us, and I want people to come with an intention and realize that it's first and foremost not up to me, but up to you. We are vessels. I am a vessel when I'm teaching, right? And when I'm a student, I am opening myself and I'm being open and receptive to receiving. right? And I
Yeah.
do set an intention. And the greatest intention when we go on a journey like this is to be open and receptive and to understand that the teacher is not responsible for our results. We are responsible for our results. So that's why intention setting in our daily lives is so important. Intention setting when we sign up for a course is so important because at the end of the day, it's the work that we do as students that makes the difference. And I say that to go back to what I referenced that when you and I connected a month ago, I loved everything you said, and of course, my heart got filled and it gets, of course, encourages me. And I love also to tell other people when their message has impacted me
Yeah.
because I'm showing gratitude, but also it reaffirms that let's say, as a therapist and coach, when your clients are telling you, Giovanna, you made a difference. It reinforces and it gives you confidence and it gives you courage.
Yeah.
Right? And it inspires you to keep doing what you're doing because the message is being received. And so, as human beings, we like that. Maybe it's our ego. We like that. Sometimes it's just our heart. It encourages us. And ultimately, as students, it is our responsibility to do the work. And this week, we are going to be talking a little bit more about that. And before I continue, I want to ask you, so our first day, you experienced our general session. You could have also watched the replay because it's available for VIPs and elite queens. And you have some assignments that are due on Wednesday that you can, of course, share in advance via email with me. What did you think of that first session and your first assignment?
So the first assignment was identifying your money scripts. And, even in the line of work that I do, it's always beautiful when you can uncover something about yourself through a different way, through a different practitioner, right? Through a different medium, through a different teacher. And I'm really grateful for what I uncovered about myself. Like there are things that I knew, but the language that I was able to use in identifying some of the money scripts and then understanding where it comes from, because everything comes from somewhere, and then what can be done moving forward. So it's not just, well, this is the issue and go sit with it. It's like, no, this is the issue. This is where it possibly came from. And now these are the ways in which we can resolve, which we all want resolutions, right? And so what I'm grateful for is to go to the next level in my financial development and discover more, continue to grow. Like you were saying, I'm constantly learning. But this is the way it is, right? For us to become fabpreneurs, we have to take ourselves to levels.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
And so this work is really powerful. It was really powerful for me, Evie, honestly, to do that work. And I've been chewing on it
yes.
since our last meeting, and really grateful for what I have learned.
And one of the assignments was just to journal because we're going to get into on Wednesday the, if you want to call it, the certain way of journaling that is part of the FAB money scripting method of manifesting financial freedom. Because it is a certain way of journaling or writing. But one of your assignments was to write every day so that you could increase your awareness of what are the behaviors. And if you couldn't write every day, I asked you to at least write when you were triggered. And so were you able to do that? How was that for you?
That is a work in progress for me.
Okay. Okay, it's okay.
That is
And
a work in progress. Honestly, that's a work in
yeah,
progress for me. However, what the practice did, what that moment did was it heightened my awareness. It
yes,
heightened my awareness, and again, it gave me language to where I've shared with others about Wednesday and what I
yes,
learned and what I've acquired and how excited I am, to go on the journey. And there have been a couple opportunities where, okay, well, do I need to order that thing? No, Yovanna, you don't need to order that thing. The only reason why you're doing it is because of this, that, and the third.
yeah,
And so, being able to modify my behavior, um, has been. Although I will say, so I journal. I'm working on a journal, like my miracle life journal. And so the particular page asked me about how I feel when I think about my future life. And so while it wasn't, now I think about it, while it wasn't directly related to the homework,
But
it
it
was
is.
at the same time because there's no such thing as coincidence, right? Everything is happening in divine order. So yeah, so I guess I did journal about it, but just not like with the intention, like I'm going to journal about my money scripts. I was journaling about my future life and how I view my future self, which of course money has everything to, right? Like we can't do the future life without money. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah,
Yeah, so you did do it, and you
I did
still
do
have
it.
today, Monday, you have Tuesday, and you have Wednesday until we meet to
Yep.
do it. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how to develop the habit of journaling. And then I do want to just give you some tips. So before I give you that tip, let me just tell you what happened for me, because as I'm teaching, I'm also a student of myself. So I noticed specifically yesterday, right? I noticed that some fear thoughts came into me. Okay. And also I noticed judgment. Judgment came into me. And I noticed, and it was so interesting because now I catch myself more, you know, and maybe because I know I'm going to write about it, right? Could perhaps maybe because I set that intention that I'm going to be more conscientious, and also because ultimately, and this is the lesson that I want you to take away for those of you that are watching, is that all our behaviors carry some type of energy, because
Hmm.
we're made out of energy.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I often mention is the work of Dr. David Hawkins, MD, PhD. He's no longer with us in the physical form, but he left some amazing books. Power versus Force was one of his first books and most recognized pieces of work. And he did some kinesiology testing where he looked at different emotions. And when he calibrated these emotions, okay, they each had a number, let's say from 25 to 100, right? It's actually to 1,000, but so every emotion calibrates as low or high energy. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because yesterday, when I was in a state of fear, I calibrated under the lowest number that I can for manifesting. So for manifesting, it has been suggested that you want to be at a 500 level in his what he calls map of consciousness, right? And fear calibrates way under 500, right? So I caught myself saying, well, I cannot manifest my intentions for today if I am vibrating at fear. And so that's very
Hmm.
important, because it could be like if your husband, I just saying, if it's driving fast and you start fighting because you're fearful, then your level of emotion, your emotions are like, your level of
Hmm.
intelligence and emotions goes down, your energy goes down, you're in a fear mode, right?
Yep.
So that will trigger more fear. So that becomes a triggering thing, right? If I'm judging someone who didn't give me good service or what have you, then I'm also calibrating a little lower emotion, and I'm not in alignment with what we call our fabulous, financially free fabpreneur self, meaning I am not aligned to the highest, greatest, highest calibrating version of me, which is the highest version that I can be when I want to consciously create a conscious life, the life of my dreams, or my fabulously financially free life. Right. So I want to be aware of that. And so that's the purpose of the journaling. And this assignment is about what I call everyday journaling, which, by the way, varies immensely from the FAB money scripting. The FAB money scripting is a certain way. And the reason why I recap that and I, say it again is because if everybody who journaled, right, was journaling to manifest money, why aren't there more people who journal making money or manifesting money? It is because most people journal what I call the most traditional way, which is journaling about your day. Well, what happened? For me, that traditional type of journaling has a purpose, and that was your assignment for this week, because the purpose is for you to reflect and become aware. So when I became aware of those behaviors, I was able to write about it and reflect upon them, right?
Hmm.
And that helps me to understand what are my triggers. What is it that triggers me to behave a certain way that lowers my energy, thus lowering my capacity to consciously create and manifest? So that's number
Hmm.
one. Now, to go into the actual habit, like I said, in the morning, I wake up. I go to make either coffee or tea in my kitchen. So the best way for me to journal in the morning is to have my journal by my side table next to my bed or in the kitchen on that kitchen, little kitchenette table that I have, where I wait for either my coffee or my tea to brew for those 5 minutes. And when you pair an existing habit with the new habit that you want to establish, that's when you develop a new habit. So I am telling you to suggest to you that if you have to put your journal or notebook next to your bed, do what I do, put it under your arm, carry it and go to the kitchen with it, then do that. Or have the journal by your kitchen so that when you're, let's say, putting an egg, like many times I'm also boiling an egg in the morning because that's what I have. I have my journal there. And while that egg is getting ready at the temperature that I like, I am journaling. So the best way to develop, and by the way, I didn't create this part, the habit formation came from Dr. James Clear,
Habit
who has,
stacking.
yes, Dr. James Clear has the number one book on habits, to pairing an existing habit with a new habit. So that's the way that I'm going to suggest that you develop the new habit
Hmm.
of journaling. Now,
Yep.
on Wednesday, you'll learn more about the FAB money scripting and why it's different than traditional journaling, because it does have a template for you to follow. It is very intentional with the purpose of aligning you with what you want. So I want people to become aware of that. Now, for now, I just want to leave people with this message. Begin journaling every day, at least in the morning, preferably in the morning and at night. Okay. In the morning, because you want to begin by setting that intention and being a conscious creator. The best way to be a conscious creator, or to create your future self, whether your future self is at the end of the day today, or by the end of this week, by the end of the month, in 3 months, 6 months, a year or more, begin by being the writer of your life, the conscious creator, the author of the book of your life. So imagine that you're creating your own autobiography. But instead of being not conscious, you are going to consciously write it as if you are that. And you'll learn more about this and the new iteration of this process on Wednesday when we talk about, especially in the VIP and the Elite Queen room. We're going to talk about this because it's very important that we understand something. We can't become who we want to be by being who we have been.
That's a word, Evie. Yep.
So you can write that, and I'm going to write it here in the chat while you give me some feedback of what I just shared with you.
Yeah. I love the concept of habit stacking. Like when Atomic Habits, I think is a book by Dr. James
Yes.
Clear. And, you know, you could do it audibles, you could read it, when you start to realize where those habits come from, which tie into money scripts, right? The habit of continuously thinking about your financial behavior or your fear, like you were saying, or some of the feelings that come up. But creating those habits are so vitally important. I also, I keep when I like to write things, I do write them, like I said, kind of randomly, but by my bedside, because that's my thing, right? Get up in the morning, and after I've done my prayers, I write something, or before I go to bed, right? Write a little something. But sometimes, the habits, they become so rote, they just become such a part of like your DNA that you don't even realize, like, oh, what do you do in the morning? It's like, let me think. Right. And that's what we want. We
Well,
want
that's
to,
why we're journaling, so that we can
right,
become more aware of
be
it.
more
Number
aware.
one. And number two, the reason why I talked about habits is so that we can develop better and new habits, like the habit of journaling every day in the morning and at night.
So smart.
Yeah. So does that make it easy for you to develop this new habit of writing?
Yeah.
So you're gonna
Surely.
try it tomorrow?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it certainly sparks the curiosity and the desire to create that intention, for sure. And and I'm a talker, so um, I'm probably more inclined to like talk about stuff. But I think you had given us a suggestion. Writing is more powerful. We know this, right? We know that neurologically, writing is always going to be a lot more powerful. So
Yeah,
I'll have
and
to
then
translate what's in my brain to my hand.
Absolutely, because you can always go back to it and
Yeah.
see where you were versus where you are. You could
Yeah.
also review repetitive habits that are not moving you forward, and you can either replace that existing habit with a new habit, because you can
Hmm.
always do that. You could replace it. That's another method that James Clear speaks about in Atomic Habits. He talks about changing one bad habit, if you want to call it, for a new better habit, right?
Right.
So you
Right.
can do that. And here's the my final thoughts. We're going to be in this journey, and the reason why I decided to do this week by week is to give people time to work through this. Okay, so I could have done it one day after another, like I did last year when I did a similar, it was a 5 day challenge, but people were becoming overwhelmed because the assignments were big. And so this time I did it giving people 1 week, because it's Wednesday to the next Wednesday, so that you can get the assignment. And here's to my point at the beginning, that I'm giving you the message. What you do with it is up to you. So it is up to us as students, and I'm a student of this message too. So I'm doing the work with you to
Hmm.
do the assignment so that we can move ourselves from where we were last week to where we want to be this week. And then, or where we want to be at the end of the challenge, at the end of the month, which is, this month I set an intention for us to really experience what I'm calling an absolutely abundant April. And so for us to experience an absolutely abundant April, we must learn how to implement a new habit into our lives that has the potential to dramatically change our limiting money scripts. And more to the point, just like our limiting money script took years to develop and reinforce by the patterns, by the habits of, or the ritual of continuing to do it, right? Similarly, if we want to change an existing limiting money script, we must replace it with a new one. And we can only do that by repetition and time. So just like you establish and ingrain or tattooed in your brain a limiting money script with time, with the repetition, we must do the same work of unlearning that by replacing it with a new habit. And the new habit that I am setting you up for is the habit of writing in your journal or notebook each and every day and night, practicing the FAB money scripting method of manifesting financial freedom, of which you'll learn more on Wednesday. And so we're going to go beneath, and this is my last kind of story to bring it home visually. So if you have, let's say, a dirty bathtub, that's what came to mind just now, right? You see it, and maybe someone, one of your children or you, might have come from the outside. You had dirt and you left an imprint, right? And you put the water on to rinse it off. That might make that footprint that you did in your white bathtub look like it's less of it, right? But is it really clean? No. So you got to go deeper and use some things to clean it so that it's disinfected, it's clean. So if you want to fill it up and take a bath, you feel fine, right? So
Yeah.
in the same fashion, when we are talking about taking the tattoo out of our brain. So think about it too like a tattoo. It used to be you weren't able to take a tattoo that you had placed on. Now, with several treatments, and some I hear that with one treatment, of a certain strong treatment, you can easily remove a tattoo. So imagine, if you will, that your limiting money scripts are tattoos imprinted in your
Yeah.
mind. It's going to take some deep cleaning. That's why we call it rewiring, to take that out and clean it out good, just like you would the bathtub, and make it white and clean, just like you would removing a tattoo from your body. So we have to go deeper. And so that's why at the beginning I shared about the 95% of our behaviors, of what we do, are habitual rituals that we have learned. We keep doing it. So we're
Yep.
operating on automatic state. And the only way to do it is, number one, becoming conscious. That's why we did the assignment of just writing in your journal, so that you can increase your awareness of what are you doing throughout the day, what is triggering you, right?
Mhm.
Which, by the way, if we weren't talking spiritually, this many authors have written about writing everything they do every day so that they can see how productive they are in their business. So, for
Right.
example, if you've ever wondered, well, gee, why didn't I sell $1,000 this week? And then you're not writing about it, you're not going to realize that you spend 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 hours watching TV instead of making phone calls, doing live stream. So once you write it, you realize, well, geez, I know why I didn't sell $1,000 this week. Well, simply because I was watching TV instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing for my business. You see that?
Right.
So
Yeah.
the purpose of the general traditional way of journaling is to increase our awareness. The purpose of the FAB money scripting method is to go deeper now and get the tattoo of the limiting money scripts out of your mind, right? So that you can begin attracting the affluent clients, so that you can begin manifesting more money. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Any questions you have before we finish, or any thoughts?
I'm just excited to continue this journey. I'm telling you, one session and it went deep. It went deep. And because I had set the intention for that depth, because I know, like you were saying, that it's the only way to really effectively create a change. You can't do change on the surface. You got to go deep, and you got to
Yeah.
be okay with that. And you got to get really honest with yourself. Um,
Yes.
and I love that you create a safe space for your audience, for your clients. So being in that safe space, the divine alignment of all of it, at least from I can speak for myself, and I think that it's just true in general. I definitely felt like this is 100% what I needed in my life right now, what I need in my life, what my business needs. So I'm super excited.
Very good. And I am grateful for you and everyone else who has joined us and everyone else who is joining us. So if you didn't know join us, yeah, this is your opportunity to join us. You can still join. Right now, you can only join as an elite, because as an elite, you get the recordings and the replays. So you can only join as that. And so there is a link that is tickering here in a ticker, evds.com, flip limiting money scripts, or just go to evds.com. You'll see it at the very top. And also in the middle of the page, you'll see to join our limiting money scripts challenge. We have this Wednesday and next Wednesday. I invite you to join and realize that this is a first step. And yes, I am going to give you an opportunity to continue working with me. So I'm letting you know in advance, because remember, we got to go into the surface. So this week, we are going a little deeper than, let's say, you just running the water in the bathtub and letting that mud perhaps leave. We're getting into a little bit more of perhaps you pouring some type of item that takes away or disinfects, the steps that were placed on that bathtub. And then you're going to be invited to clean with something more potent. If you haven't been cleaning your bathtub really strongly, there's debris that collects and other funky stuff. And sometimes you have to use some commercial liquid products to get that stuff out. And so you'll hear me say, before the end of this month, what is the next step, so that you can start really going deep and cleaning, so that you can really master manifesting, and so that you can have a more prosperous business the way it was intended for you to have. So, Giovanna, I want to thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I'm excited about the opportunity that we're back connected. I look forward to all the things that we're going to be able to do together. And I'm grateful for this divine instant,
Me
because we're
too.
living in the now moment. And this is the only instant that is true. And I want to thank everybody who's watching, whether the replay through my newsletter, my emails that I'm sending after this, or whether you accidentally bumped into this. There is no accident. You were meant to bump into this video, and you were probably meant to join us in this journey of flipping your money script. So make sure that you check out our website and make plans to join us, because I know I would definitely love for you to experience this. And just know that this is the first step. And this is the first step of setting intentions and then discovering what are your limiting money scripts. Because I do have a surprise, or not so much a surprise, and that is that next month we're going to have our entire focus on the money and marketing. And that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to announce it now, but you'll hear me talk more about it in the upcoming weeks, because that's the way that I think we need to work with attracting and manifesting money. First, we look at where's the dirt? How do we clean it? Now we have a clean canvas. Now we can start painting and creating on it. And that's what we're going to be doing in the month of May. So be ready. For now, I want to thank you once again, Amidi Diaz, your financial empowerment speaker, trainer, healer, and author. And remember, I'm an expert, and I want you to be an expert on this, the easiest, the simplest money manifesting method, which is the FAB money scripting method of manifesting financial freedom. Thank you so much for watching. And until we see each other again, bye for now.
All right.
Bye.